Hi, I'm Chef Tammy Brawley from the Green Kitchen, and welcome to Heart of the Home. Today I'm going to show you guys what I consider a delicious recipe. We're going into the fall and winter months. You might have family visiting, and this is a great breakfast recipe. We're going to do corned beef hash. You know, I grew up eating it out of a can, and to be quite honest, I'd eat it again. But I found this recipe several years ago, and I love it. It's using fresh corned beef from the deli, and I'm going to show you guys how to make this hash. One of the crucial ingredients, as far as I'm concerned, is an iron skillet. This happened to be my grandmother's, so I'm excited about being able to use that today. What you want to start with really are some diced red potatoes. Go ahead and dice them ahead because you want them to be partially cooked, kind of fork tender. And we're going to put half of the potatoes into a bowl. And we're going to roughly mash them up. You have a potato masher or anything that would mash your potatoes. Let me just put it that way. Just kind of coarsely mash them up. And then we're going to add some things to it. And by mashing these, this will pretty much kind of give it a little thickness in the sauce when we create it. And we're going to put all the ingredients in a moment in our iron skillet. Then we're going to pop that skillet into the oven for about a half an hour or so and let it get nice and crispy. What I like about serving it is you can do it with poached eggs on top or scrambled eggs on the side. I'm a big fan of the poached egg on top. So now to our mashed potatoes, we're going to add about 2 cups or so of corned beef. I got it from the deli at your grocery store, and I like chopping it up as opposed to chunking it. And we're going to add our corned beef to that. We're going to add some chopped onion. We're going to go ahead and add the rest of the potatoes that were not mashed. Now we're going to add our seasonings. We've got some dried thyme here. You can use ground thyme if you want, but you want to use about half as much because it's a little bit more concentrated. So I got about 1/4 teaspoon of dried thyme. We have a clove of garlic, and we have some fresh parsley. Happy to say the fresh parsley came out of my own garden. So we're going to chop up some parsley. You can just do a rough chop. It doesn't have to be perfect. It sure does smell good. I love using fresh herbs when I cook. Get that nice and chopped. And we can add that to our mix. And then we have 1 clove of garlic here. You know, if you're a garlic fan, you could certainly use more. You just want to make sure you do chop off that little rough end. So we're going to just kind of do a rough chop on the garlic. If you choose to use garlic powder, again, it's the same as the thyme. It's very concentrated, so you'd want to use roughly a clove of garlic should be about a teaspoon or so, maybe a little bit more. So if you're going to substitute and use the ground or the granulated, you want to use about half that much in this recipe. So we're going to add our garlic. And now we want to add about a tablespoon or so of our, we have a stone ground mustard here. All right, I don't have a tablespoon measure. We're just going to kind of eyeball that. A little bit of stone ground mustard and a little bit of coarse ground pepper and a little bit of salt. And now we're going to add my favorite thing when it comes to the seasoning, and that is a fresh ground nutmeg. Nutmeg does not go bad, believe it or not. I've purchased these in stores, and what's great about them is you can use a microplane grater. I happen to have an actual nutmeg grater here. You know, people say they don't want to buy tools that they can only use for one thing, but this to me was worth it. So I've got a nutmeg bulb here, and I'm just going to grate fresh nutmeg right over the top of it. It does take just a couple of moments, but trust me, the flavor is well worth it. So we're going to put that back in our jar. And then we're going to add about 1/4 cup or so of chicken stock. If you happen to have increased the corned beef or the potatoes, which I knew I did, I'm going to go ahead and add just a little bit more. All right. And we're going to stir that up. While we stir that up, we're going to turn our burner on here. And what I have in the pan here in my iron skillet, hi, Nanny. We are going to melt the butter, and then we're going to add our mixture to it and let it get a little crispy on the bottom. So I'm just going to stir this up. Oh, wow. I smell the parsley. I smell the mustard. I smell the corned beef. And I certainly smell that nutmeg. All right, so what you're looking for is a little bit of moisture in the corned beef mixture here. Our butter has melted in the iron skillet, and now we're going to transfer the mixture to the iron skillet. Now, we're not going to fully cook it on top of the burner. We're actually going to pop it into the oven where it's going to go for about a half an hour. You're just looking to sort of crisp the bottom at this point. You may decide you want a bigger skillet. That's totally fine too. This smells heavenly. I love serving this for breakfast, not only for my family when they're in town, but also just for myself. So we're going to pop it in the oven for about a half an hour, and we'll come back and taste it. And we're back. We've taken our corned beef hash out of the oven. You might notice a nice little crispy top there. It is ready to eat. We're going to portion it onto our platter here. It still has remained soft underneath, which is great, and a little crispy bottom. And I really love to serve this with a poached egg over the top. And there you have it, corned beef hash. Delicious on these nice winter months that we're having. I'm Tammy Brawley with The Green Kitchen. Join us next time on Heart of the Home.
Recipes from the Heart of the Home can be found on the Virginia Farm Bureau website at vafb.com/recipes, as well as on Chef Tammy Brawley's website at greenkitchenrichmond.com.